Dear friends, let's talk about data structures and some categories. As we know that data structure, which is mathematical or logical model for particular organization of data. So mainly there are two categories, primitive and non-primitive. So primitive, it is inbuilt, means machine already understands it, like integer, float, character, while non-primitive, it is derived from primitive. Now primitive, inbuilt, it is given, no special sort of code is required to implement primitive, while non-primitive, so some special sort of code will be required to implement it, some algorithms are required. And further, in non-primitive, there are again major two categories, linear data structure and non-linear data structures. And for physical storage, file and searching, hashing, sorting techniques, right? So these all are data structures. Now if we talk about non-primitive, again linear and non-linear. So linear data structures like array, stack, queue, linked list, while non-linear, tree and graph. So linear data structure, like it is stored in some sequence, some fixed pattern, while non-primitive, in non-linear data structure, it is not fixed pattern, like the elements or data is stored in some random fashion. Now if we talk about non-primitive linear data structure category, so array, stack, queue, linked list. Again, array, as you know, it is fixed size sequential collection of elements having same data type. Then stack, if we talk about, it is last in first out fashion. So it is again a non-primitive linear data structure in which insertion and deletion of elements occurs from only one end and in last in first out manner. So recent most element will be deleted first, and what we call insertion and deletion method as, insertion method is known as push and deletion is known as pop in stack. Now if we talk about queue, so queue, all of you know about queue, must be you are knowing all the parameters of queue, because every time in life even we have stood in various queues. So the same concept is getting reflected in computer science. So data structure queue, that is first in first out. Always when we utilize any queue, what we do, if we enter at the end, and what will be the further process, so the first term will be first served. So same way in computer science, in queue, it is first in first out. How can we define it? It is again a non-primitive linear data structure. It's a category. Again further, in which insertion and deletion of elements occurs from which end, different end or single end, different end, right? Because in queue we get inserted from rear end and deleted from front end. So there are two different ends. Unlike stack, in queue there are two ends, front and rear. From which end we will get inserted? Rear end. And for deletion, which end will be used? Front end. So there are two pointers would be required for implementing this queue. Which two pointers? Front and rear. We will call it as F and R. So for insertion process, rear pointer will be used, and for deletion process, front pointer will be used. So we'll see the detailed algorithm and implementation further in the next session. Thank you.